Who's ready to do a science experiment? I am. Are you? Let's do them together.
Hi scientists, welcome back for another science experiment with Miss Shannon. So when I was a kid, I had a lava lamp. It was purple. I kept it in my room. I was able to plug it in, but the most favorite thing of it for me was watching the lava or the shapes it made inside of the lamp. So I thought, can we make our own? So let's try that today. We're going to make our own lava lamps today. So what you need for ingredients are oil. You can use vegetable oil, sunflower oil, any sort of oil like that. I don't know if I use olive oil, but vegetable, sunflower, canola oil you can use. You need some food coloring. I have 3 different colors. I'm going to use red, blue, yellow. You need to go to your pharmacy with your parent or your helper and get Alka-Seltzer tablets. In my country, in Spain, they come in a little box and they look like this. People use them because when they have upset tummies, they can drink them and they'll help their bellies not feel so upset. But inside, the little package looks like this, and it's a little pill that when you put inside a liquid, it dissolves. We also are going to need some water. And I have 3 glass jars because I want to try a few different colors and different ways to do it with you guys, but you really just need 1 glass jar if you're making it to be able to put your oil and water and make your lava lamp. So go get that stuff, come back with me, and then we're going to make a lava lamp together. Okay, you're back with your supplies. So now that you have all your supplies, what you need to do is you need to take your glass jar and fill it 3/4 of the way up with the oil, okay? I've done that with all 3 jars, and then you need to take your water and fill it the other 1/4 of the way in the jar. So let's put some water in. There we go. Oh, it's already making some bubbles, which is a lot of fun. I did these 2 jars earlier because I didn't want you to have to wait while I did those things. So questions I want you to start thinking about: does the oil float to the top or the bottom of the glass jar you're using? And why do you think that happens? I want you to think about that for a second. Okay, what I find is you can actually see it in my jar, the line between the oil and the water. So the oil floats to the top. And that's because it is more dense. It is heavier than the water. So it will always go to the top. So make sure that that's happening in your jar. So the next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna choose the color of food coloring you wanna use. One of my favorite colors is blue. So I am gonna use blue for sure. I would like to see, let's see. I think we need to put, depending on the size of your jar and how many bubbles you want, I would say the smaller jar, I'd probably use 3 drops, and bigger jars, maybe 4 or 5. So let's do this little small jar in the blue color. So I'm gonna put it forward so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so you can actually see just that jar. So let's do that. So we're gonna bring this back a little bit. So let's do this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what's happening is, and I hope it's happening on yours, in my jar, the bubbles of food coloring are sinking to the bottom at the same level as the water. And what I found out from doing some research for us scientists out there, and want to see how this works, the food coloring has the same density as the water. So it's always going to stay at the water line. It's not as heavy as the oil, okay? So next thing you need to do is you need to get your little Alka-Seltzer tablet out. And when you put it in there, you're going to see what happens. Okay, so first I'm going to move this to the side so I have a little bit more space. And there we go. Okay, I have some scissors. You can also rip it with your hand, but I'm going to do it with just a pair of scissors to open it up so I'm not fiddling too much while we're trying to do this together. All right. I always get really excited when we're doing these types of things because you don't really know what's happening. I'm doing it for the first time with you also. So I hope it works because I think it's gonna work, but we know science, it may not always work. Will it work really well? Will we get lots of bubbles and lava looking type bubbles, or will we only get a few? Who knows? Take a guess, see what you think you're going to get. Do you think it matters the size of jar you use, the more bubbles you get? Does it matter if you use a whole tablet or a half a tablet? Will you get more or less? So why don't we do that? Why don't we try half a tablet in here and then a full tablet in here after to see how we do for bubbles. Okay, so that's it. Let's do that. Okay, so we got half a tablet. Okay, so on the count of 3, we're gonna put it into the jar. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, okay, it sank to the bottom right away. That's what happened with the Alka-Seltzer tablet. In my jar, I'm starting to see bubbles. Right now, they seem a little bit light blue and clear in color, and they seem to be coming up from all one location, but when they reach the top, they are starting to float to the bottom again to go back down to the water level. Okay, there's more and more coming. Oh my goodness, look how many we're getting. This is beautiful. Oh, I love the blue color. This is very fun to look at. I could look at this stuff for hours, just get mesmerized in it. I hope you can too. Very interesting. There is so many bubbles, I don't even think I could count. So maybe it does matter the size of the jar you have and the amount of the tablet you put in. Because I'm thinking if we put the full tablet in, we might have had so many bubbles we couldn't even tell. Now remember, this isn't gonna last forever. It's not like your plug-in lava lamp that maybe your parents had or you might have now. It is gonna run out, but you can keep this jar of stuff, put a lid on. I have lids for each of my jars. Put a lid on, and then you can save it for later and do it whenever you're kind of feeling like it. But always make sure you ask your adult when you want to do it and have a try. Very neat. So one thing I do notice is there's a smell. The Alka-Seltzer tablets have a little bit of like a lemony, fresh smell to them. So I'm smelling that when I also do the experiment. Now the bubbles are starting to slow down. They're not creating as many more, but they're still floating around and they're getting smaller and floating to the bottom where the water is. Okay, interesting. Let's set that aside. Okay, so now we have a bit of a bigger bottle. These are just bottles I had in my cupboard that I use for like storing stuff or making salad dressings and things like that. All right, let's try red. Okay, so this time we're gonna do the full tablet in a bigger jar. Let's do 5 drops because it's a bit of a bigger jar and see if we get the same amount of bubbles or do we get more and does it last longer? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. It's taking longer for the drops to fall in the bigger jar. So I don't quite know why, but they're happening. It just took a couple extra minutes, seconds, not minutes, seconds. All right, so we just have one hanging on there and we want it to go to the bottom. The nice thing about this box of Alka-Seltzer tablets, there was about 20 tablets in there. So I have lots of times that I can make lava lamps and have this for an ongoing activity in my house. Or if you have a couple of friends or your brothers and sisters in your house, you all can do it. Okay, so now we have our whole tablet, okay? And we're gonna put it inside on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Once again, it went all the way to the bottom really quickly because remember what we said, it's very dense and it's gonna go down to the bottom to, oh, that was interesting. At the bottom, one of the bubbles of food coloring kind of just like swooshed or exploded apart. We're having all that still bubbles come to the top and now they're starting to fall. We're seeing some colors, but the color isn't as red as I was thinking it would be. It's more of a pink color. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get more of a dense red color. Okay, as time goes on, it's becoming more pink red color. And I think that's because things are just mixing up and they're creating gases in with each other, and then they're creating more of a dense color. Very cool. This one, because the jar is bigger, I am seeing a little bit bigger of lava or bubbles of the oil and water mixture together. The other one I saw lots of small little bubbles, which is still having some bubbles floating around in it, but they're not as thick. And then this one here has quite a few of the fun bubbles, but not as red as I thought. Maybe if you want more of a red color and not a pink color, if you're using a little bit of a larger jar, is to add a bit more of the food coloring. I wonder, just because we're here having a good time together, do I add a few more drops and maybe half of another tablet, that remaining one that we had, to see if it works? Okay, if we get more of a dense color. So let's try that. I have time today, do you? If you do, let's do it together. Ready? Let's add 2 more. 1, 2. Okay. So that added a little bit more. So originally we had 5. Now we have 7 drops of the food coloring inside of the jar. Now we're going to do half of the tablet that we didn't use previously. And we're going to put it inside and see if we get more of a red color and not so much of a pink color. So here we go. In it goes. All the way to the bottom. It's still bubbling at the bottom, so I'm wondering if the reaction is going to be quicker. It is reacting quite quickly. I can see the drops that I put in there, and they're bubbling away. Very neat. So this tablet is creating gas, carbon dioxide, inside of this to allow the bubbles to come. So if you want to know more about gas and the reactions that create carbon dioxide, you can help your parent help you Google a little bit more and do a little bit more research on that. Because a lot of the experiments that happen in science, it is created by gas or air, right? So then it floats up and it goes to the top of the oil mixture. Oh, there. No, I don't think we got more. Now, I don't know if it's because it was still bubbly from the previous tablet going in, or was it just because that was what as red as it would get. Okay, now I might be going a little crazy here. Bear with me. What about mixing 2 colors? You want to try that? So my last jar. Now, because this jar is probably about the same size of this or bigger, I think I'm going to add a bit more drops because I want to make sure that I have a good amount of color and a good amount of bubbles. Okay, so same thing. Oil is on the top because it is more dense or heavier than the water, so that is at the bottom now. We need to do our colors. What do you think we should do? Should we do, one of my most favorite colors in the world is purple, which is blue and red together. So if I put the blue and the red in the jar, do you think it will make purple? Let's guess. Let's make a guess. I think yes. You write down what you think. I think we'll do let's do 5 drops of each. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 5 drops of the red. Okay. Now let's do the 5 drops of the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops! We got 6. That's okay. 6 drops is okay. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll just, maybe what we'll do to be even, let's add 1 more drop of red. 1. So now we have 6 and 6. Then it's kind of fair. What do you think about that idea? Okay, so now I can see all of the drops starting to float to the bottom. Okay? For some reason, the red seems to take a bit longer than the blue. And I'm not too sure why, but we can figure that out. And in our follow-up notes, I'm going to try and put an answer to see if different colors of food coloring have different density to it, or just because of maybe the size of the drop I put in it made a difference. Okay, so we definitely need a whole tablet in here. Do you think we need yeah, let's just do a whole tablet, because I worry if we get a tablet and a half that it will bubble over and then we'll have a bit of a mess, and that's not what we want. Okay, so everything's in there, everything's in the jar. We got water, oil, food coloring. Last thing, the Alka-Seltzer tablet. Ready? 1, 2, 3. In it goes. Straight to the bottom. Okay, I see some red and blue food coloring bubbles kind of separating. Almost makes like a cloudy look to it. Very blue looking right now. I don't see a lot of purple yet, but I'm hoping as things continue to create gases and mix together that they will start to make that purple color that we're looking for. I see a really big red one down there, and I'm hoping that. Now, I do believe it is definitely more blue, or like a deeper blue, than the other one was. The size of the lava balls is very big because the jar is wider, it is bigger. So remember that when you're making yours. I see a lot of blue. On the top here, I can see a little bit of purple as the two of them are mixing together, and I can see the gases moving because you can hear a little bit of gas in there. I do believe it is looking a little bit more purple. So mixing the colors will allow you to have more of a mixed color. What I think we'll do is we're gonna let this happen, and then I wanna see about letting it sit for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back maybe in half an hour, add another tablet to see if, because the colors had longer to sit together, will they make a purple color, and then come back. Okay, I'll be back with you in about half an hour to check out the next stage of our investigation. Okay, everybody, we're back. It's been about 30 minutes, and I went and did a few things, and I thought, let me come back and check. This is fun. The water is purple, so the red and the blue mixed together. So I'm hoping that we get purple bubbles. The other jars, just as an update, mild bubbling still, but this is the blue one. And this is our red one, but it's more like a fuchsia pink, so not like a deep red that I thought it would maybe be. Okay, so what now we're gonna do is get a tablet, and we are going to add it and see if we get purple bubbles. And then we know if we mix two colors together, then you can get all sorts of different colors. All right, here we go. I'm really hoping we get purple bubbles. 1, 2, 3. Keep my fingers crossed. Okay, it's at the bottom now. It's bubbling. Doing like before, going all the way to the top. Yes, I do see some blue still, but then a lot of a tinge of a purple. You can tell that the blue is the dominant color in the two of them, because you don't see any sort of red flakes coming out, but lots of deep, deep blue and even almost a purple tinge. So I would say it's partly there. If you want it to be more of a different color, so if you wanted purple, I would have added more red and less blue, and then you'll get that. Really hoped you enjoyed making a lava lamp with me today, and I hope it's something you try. If you have any questions, please make sure you email me. My email is in the presentation. I will also send you your own directions and your follow-up, so you can do this experiment anytime at your house. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye, little scientists.